Welcome to this edition of Represent NYC on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. I'm Rosie Mendez, Manhattan Borough President's Director of Community Affairs, and I'm hosting today's show for the Borough President, Gale Brewer, who had an unavoidable conflict today. As Director of Community Affairs in the Borough President's office, I work closely with Manhattan's 12 community boards, which are the grassroots of local government. Our show today has to do with community boards because our office is sponsoring the Manhattan Paper Challenge, a competition to increase paper recycling rates in Manhattan. The competition is sponsored by Pratt Industries, which runs a recycling plant right here in New York City on the western shore of Staten Island. Pratt has graciously financed cash prizes for the challenge winners, which are given every quarter. Sean State, the Vice President of Recycling at Pratt Industries, is here with us today. And the challenge is co-sponsored by the City Department of Sanitation, of course, and Bridget Anderson, Deputy Commissioner for Recycling and Sustainability, is joining us today. Finally, the challenge is also sponsored by the Manhattan Solid Waste Advisory Board, known as SWAB, and Matt Chiavello, Chair of the SWAB, is here today. Later in the show, we'll announce the quarter's paper challenge winners. But first, let's talk to our guests about recycling. So, Matt, how does SWAB fit into the recycling picture?
Yeah, SWAB has been around about the same time as recycling, so we're historically connected to it, but we also support recycling as one of our key policy initiatives with reduction, reuse, repair, and then recycling, which helps divert material away from landfill and incineration.
And why is the paper recycling challenge so important?
Well, it's one of the core principles of taking material away from landfill and incineration. And when we can reuse and recycle paper material, it's a beneficial commodity and product. So.
Thank you. Bridget, can you tell us the state of paper recycling right now in the city?
Absolutely. So in New York City, citywide, we collect about 1,000 tons every single day of paper recycling. In Manhattan, it's about 270 tons. And what's in the paper has changed. So newspaper is way down. We have less than half of the newspaper we used to have. Everyone has a phone and uses digital communications. But cardboard is way up because there's a very robust e-commerce economy. And so cardboard boxes are filling up all of our trucks right now.
And how do you know these numbers? How do you gather that data?
So every single truck, every single day goes over a scale, and all of Manhattan's paper goes to the 59th Street transfer facility where we place all of the paper from all the trucks on a barge, and it heads down to Staten Island to the Pratt facility.
And what can buildings do to increase the amount of paper going into the recycling stream?
We can definitely improve paper recycling. We only capture about 50% of our recycling, and so we definitely want more recycling to happen. Training supers and setting up your building properly to make it convenient for recycling is critical. And we actually have a free training program called the Zero Waste Building Maintenance Training Program, where we train supers to set up their buildings appropriately for recycling, to make it easy for the residents, and also they see other buildings that do a good job, so they have a sort of a peer-to-peer network of supers who help improve recycling.
Sean, can you tell us about Pratt and how long it has been running the Staten Island plant?
Sure. Yeah, Pratt's been in New York City for 22 years. We've invested nearly $400 million in our mill and a corrugated box plant that sits next to the mill. We've created over 300 green jobs here in New York City. We do take newspapers. There's not as many as there used to be, but we do take newspapers and corrugated boxes from folks from like Amazon or any box you'd receive at home. We truly have a circular economy right here in New York. Over the past 22 years, we've recycled nearly 7.5 million tons of paper, which is nearly 150 million trees, and we're very excited to be here in New York City.
Why did Pratt Industries decide to sponsor this challenge? Did you have extra capacity at the plant?
We do have extra capacity at the plant. Currently, we recycle about 85% of the paper that is generated in New York City, so we still have 15% more that we need to fiber the mill, and we get that from outside the city at this time. So the more the city produces, the more that we'll take.
And can you tell us a little bit about Manhattan's paper challenge? What are the rules?
Sure. The rules are the community boards that increase their recycling over prior year, same time period, get awarded money. The top prize is $5,000 per quarter, second place is $3,000, and third place is $2,000.
So they're competing against themselves and what they recycled the previous year.
That's correct. We want to see the community boards recycle more, and we want to award money to the folks that they choose to give it to each quarter.
And Bridget and Sean, who are this quarter's winners?
The third prize winner with a $2,000 check is Community Board number 10, which comprises Central Harlem. The second prize with a $3,000 check goes to Community Board number 5, which is Union Square, Flatiron, and a big part of Midtown south of the park, with a year-over-year increase of 4%. And Bridget, I'll leave the first prize to you.
Sure. So the first place prize is to Community Board 1, and they had a 5% increase in paper recycling over last year during this quarter.
Well, this is very exciting. We will be right back with representatives from the community organizations who will be receiving the checks from Sean and Pratt Industries. Welcome back, and we are here with the third place winning organizations from Community Board 10, whose geographic area is Harlem. And there are two groups here. CB10 is giving the $2,000 prize into two checks of $1,000. The first check goes to our Little Green Acre Community Garden, and here to accept the check is Willie Morgan, who is the caretaker at the garden, and his son, Aaron Morgan.
Congratulations. Willie and Aaron, if you could tell me just a little bit about the garden.
Well, thank you so much for the prize money. Really appreciate it. So the garden is located on 122nd Street, right off of 8th Avenue. And it's a project that my dad started really when he was a kid, essentially. As a 10-year-old, growing up in Georgia, he's been gardening since then. And he formed the garden in 1969. And the purpose of the garden initially was simply to grow vegetables that he can't buy in the store. Not necessarily can't buy it, but that doesn't taste toxic free. So he started that effort and it just blossomed. Currently he grows over 30 vegetables, and it includes also a large peach tree. He grows cotton, and he grows peanuts.
That's fantastic.
It's a part of the community, and we are proud to represent the community and look forward to the many years to come.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Well, Pratt has Georgia roots also. Our company is based out of Conyers, Georgia. Okay. If you could tell me, how are you going to spend the $1,000?
Oh boy.
Great question.
Great question. Yeah, we need supplies. Not only that, we have a deck with nice wood, but it's caved in. We need, to be lifted up. Then we have.
He made a cheat sheet, by the way, listing about 10 items. So
yeah. A portable toilet, with a fridge. We can use we got by seeds, live plants, because I get them from.
Fantastic.
And I got to get the sprinkler system repaired. I got a walkway has to be worked on, right? And on there, and I have also the
general expenses.
General expenses, yeah.
It's going to be money well spent for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you again for the prize.
I appreciate it. Thank
Right,
you.
thank you.
And the second $1,000 check for Community Board 10 goes to Harlem Grown, and here to accept the check is Ada Hill, their farm coordinator. Ada, tell us about the group.
Thank you for having me. Harlem Grown's mission is to mentor and educate youth in urban farming, sustainability, and nutrition. We educate, feed, and provide for the community of people who not only need, but also deserves it. We currently have 12 sites across Harlem, including 4 school gardens, 2 greenhouses, our impact farm, which just went off grid. So we are now powered by electricity produced by our solar canopy, and it's also a rainwater catchment system. When I first met Tony Hillary almost 3 years ago at a conference, I knew he was passionate about his work. I was influenced, and which was one of the reasons why I wanted to be part of his food-powered movement. As Tony always says, we plant fruits and vegetables, but we also grow healthy children and a sustainable community.
That's fantastic, Ada. So how will your group spend that $1,000?
Harlem Grown will use this money towards our compost annex that we are going to be building this summer. We collect food scraps from the community and turn them into nutrients in our farms. We think that this is a fitting challenge because healthy compost is part nitrogen and part carbon. And our carbon, we sometimes add our paper scraps from the office, because our office people use a lot of paper. So we're going to use that towards our compost annex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you all for coming, and we'll be right back with the second place winner from Community Board number 5. And we're back with the second place winner from Community Board 5, which covers the geographic area of Midtown Manhattan. The Broadway Green Alliance and their director, Molly Braverman, is here now.
Molly, thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about the Broadway Green Alliance?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. The Broadway Green Alliance is a nonprofit whose mission is to educate, inspire, and motivate environmentally friendlier practice in the theater community and its patrons. And we do this through a myriad of initiatives and programs. One of my personal favorites is our Green Captain program. And this is a program in which we have a volunteer in every Broadway show and in countless shows in theaters across the country, in tours, in college theater programs, who serves as the liaison between that show or theater and us. And this is someone who literally raises their hand and volunteers to serve as an advocate for greener practice on that show. And with our support, goes to implement those changes and use their voice and their platform as a theater artist to amplify that message outward. And this is a perfect way to use our tools as theater artists to go ahead and promote change using our tools of community building and storytelling to really build resilience in the face of the climate crisis.
That's fantastic. Thank you. So how do you plan on spending the $2,000, or how is your organization going to spend the $2,000?
Sure. So first of all, we are so honored to be the recipients of this award and grateful to you, and especially to the hard work of members in our very own district to be awarded this prize. So as a result, we plan on using the money in one of our key initiatives right in our district. 4 times a year, we run a recycling drive in Times Square. 2 textile drives and 2 e-waste drives. And these recycling drives are open to the entire community, to theater artists, Broadway shows, neighbors, fans, and these are open free of charge to anyone who wishes to participate. However, there is a cost associated with safely recycling e-waste. And so we plan to use these funds to offset that cost so we can continue to keep them open to anyone who wishes to participate. And we know that's especially important here in our district, where we have some very enthusiastic and competitive recyclers, and we want to make sure that we are more than ready for them.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Molly Braverman, and thank you for coming here today. We'll be right back with the first place winner. We're back with the first place winner of the Manhattan Paper Challenge, which covers the communities of Tribeca, Lower Manhattan, and Governor's Island and Community Board 1. And the board has designated earthmatter.org as their nonprofit of choice. Their executive director is Marisa Di Dominicus.
Marissa, thank you. Appreciate you being here. So tell us about Earth Matter and how you plan on spending the $5,000.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, first of all. And we are a not-profit, and we're dedicated to the art and science of composting for New Yorkers. Our home base is on Governor's Island, and we educate New Yorkers on how every one of us can be part of managing our own waste. We work with the Trust for Governor's Island to create a zero-waste island, and at our Compost Learning Center on Governor's Island, we offer volunteer work days all year round, and we host an urban farm to show how you can apply compost to the landscape. We host visitor hours when the island's open, which is from May 1st to the end of October, and every Saturday or Sunday you can come on down to the urban farm and you can learn from us and our amazing flock of chickens and goats.
That's fantastic.
So we wanted to thank you, Pratt, and we also wanted to thank for providing this amazing opportunity, and we also wanted to thank you for providing all those pizza boxes.
Oh, perfect.
And Community Board 1 and Manhattan Swab for nominating us, and especially to all of the New York City residents who are already dedicated to clean separation in all streams of recycling. So thank you, New Yorkers, for what you do. This year, we processed over 600 tons of food scrap and landscape materials. And people always ask us, where do these inputs come from? So thanks to the recycling efforts of everyone in our city government, the Department of Sanitation, New York City residents have the opportunity to drop off their food scrap at many Grow New York City farm markets, and we get a lot of that material on Governor's Island. In partnership with the Trust, we also add all of the park's yard trimmings and inputs from all of our island partners with the goal to apply the compost onto the landscape of the park. And so you can imagine this money is going to go a long way to helping with all of our educational purposes. We have a zero waste island team, and this team helps us reach out to all of the visitors, all of the vendors, all of the event producers, all of the tenants on Governor's Island on how to correctly separate all of the streams. So the paper goes away, the cans and bottle go away, and we take all the organics, and they can see that right there. So once people are exposed to that closed loop cycle, it's very easy for them to take it back into their own homes, to their workplaces, and of course, schools. So we focus a lot on education with the young people, and so we're just very grateful to be able to have our team be able to expand the work that we do. Because last year, just on the island alone, the Zero Waste Island team helped to divert over 75,000 pounds of food scrap, and this year we expect that'll double. And so we know that otherwise it will go to landfill, and by diverting all of this material, we're creating a beneficial product of compost, and we're also helping all of the other streams.
Well, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. You're doing some great work.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming, Marissa, and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you all for coming, and we will be right back. Welcome back, and we have all the winners here with us. Congrats to all of you, and thank you to our sponsors, especially Pratt Industries, for providing these grants. To learn more about the paper challenge, you can go to the website manhattanpaperchallenge.com. And remember to try to recycle more paper this winter. I'm starting right now the Speaker Pelosi way.
Bravo.
And I'm Rosie Mendez, filling in for Borough President Gale Brewer. And you can follow her on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with the handle Gale A. Brewer. Thank you for watching Represent NYC on Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
Thank you.
Thank you.